So what about balance billing? Now, balance billing is typically a dirty word, especially with government payers, and that's something that I really want to make sure everyone appreciates. So here, basically the definition of balance billing is a provider billing a patient for the difference between the provider's charge and the amount allowed for a covered service under Medicare, but also you can have this scenario with private insurance companies too. So CHIP, Medigap, and Medicaid also do not permit balance billing. So here's an example. If the provider's charge is $100 and the allowed amount is $70, the provider may bill you for the remaining $30. A preferred provider may not balance bill you for covered services. So, for example, if you are enrolled in Medicare and your provider is a Medicare provider who has submitted their Form 855B if it's a physician, or facilities use the Form 855A, it's very important to note that there cannot be that difference between the amount that the provider charges and the amount that's covered by Medicare. Now, with private insurance companies, that's different, but you absolutely want to make sure that you're reading your explanation of benefits in order to appreciate what the scope of the potential obligations are. And I was just checking the chat box. So for example, here, I put up the University of Florida, Jacksonville, and what they expressly state. So when you receive emergency care or are treated by an out-of-network provider at an in-network hospital or ambulatory surgery center, you are protected from balance billing. In these cases, you should not be charged more than your plan's co-payments, co-insurance, and or deductible. So here, going back to that $100, if the provider charges $100, Medicare pays for $70, and you have a copay of $5, that is what needs to be paid, and I'm presuming that the deductible has already been met. And so, again, appreciating the situation that you're in is different, because when we get to the No Surprises Act, the No Surprises Act does not apply to Medicare, Medicaid, Medigap, or CHIP. So that's something to be aware of too. You are never required to give up your protections from balance billing. You are also not required to get out-of-network care. You can choose a provider or a facility in your plan's network. Now, what's important to note too is emergency care is very different than elective care. So, for example, if I were skiing in another state and I blew out my knee, which has happened before, and I had to go to an emergency room, well, that's emergency care that I am seeking. And I don't have an option to go fly back to Texas, which is where I'm typically located, and go to a hospital there right away. I have to be stabilized. And so that's where you would see this coming into play, because I don't have one of the government program plans. I have an individual private plan. So also Florida law, and this is important, doesn't allow providers to balance bill for other services covered by your insurance for non-emergency visits if you are part of a healthcare management organization or HMO from Florida. If you are in a PPO, which is a preferred provider organization from the state of Florida, or the Florida law then provides you protections as well. So you can't be balance billed when you are at a provider who is out of network if you didn't have a choice in who treated you. So that's something just to consider as well.